Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a quick message for you. Today, underneath the deck, we have the Ace of Wands, which is about supreme power, creativity, divine inspiration, a new big opportunity to expand in some creative and energetic way. And today's channeled message is brought to you by my glass of orange juice here, which says, "Good things will happen." And that's that on that. All right, I'm going to just do this real fast because I actually did not come to, didn't anticipate doing a reading right now. It's kind of early, but I just feel called to for some reason, and then I'll probably come back and do something a little bit more extensive later on. So let's just get a few cards. Okay, I'll take it. That's the Ace of Swords and the World card. Let's see. Okay, I really feel like it's more like that. Get a few out. Let's see, they coming 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark. All right, can we get 2 more? Maybe that would make this message complete. Or are we only supposed to have 4? What's up? We got the Ace of Swords and the World card, which came out together. That's clarity and a new cycle of life, ending an old cycle. Okay, bam, 2 more. All right, now look at the top and the bottom in a sec. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we got some truth and clarity I hear on the world stage. So maybe something's going to be, there's maybe some big exposure that is going to be highly publicized. Something's going to be revealed in a very public way, in the sense that it'll either be perceived from a very worldly perspective, or it'll actually be experienced from a worldly perspective. I don't know why I just hear world stage on that one. Then we got the Queen of Cups, and we know what she's all about: intuitive, loving, compassionate, emotionally intelligent, blase. Then we got the Page of Cups. I felt guided to switch the positions because it felt more like he would be facing, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I see a lot of the energy in the direction that the pictures are looking or facing as a message too. And we got the Page of Cups, who has this cup with a fish in it, and it more or less is like a emotional message, or something of some emotional essence, like an apology, a message of endearment, what else, admiration even. Okay, and then we got the Queen of Cups, who's kind of like, in her own little world, more or less, but she's focused more on internal introspection and really just making sense of her emotional intelligence in a way that she can transmute that energy into something fortifying. So she knows how that makes an impact on her surroundings, and she's careful about how her surroundings make an impact on. Okay. So there's perhaps an apology, and then we got this energy here. So this makes sense. Oh, wow. So there's some type of, oh my goodness. So there's some type of exposure that's going to happen in a public way of something. I don't know what it is, but given this energy down here, there was something destructive that may have occurred on account or against this Queen of Wands, perhaps, that is going to be exposed. I keep wanting to say in a public way, but what is it? What's the word? I can't find the word. Well, I'm also media. I definitely hear media, which makes sense because the world card sometimes can be an inflection of the World Wide Web, on the internet or whatever. So there's something that's about to, oh no, y'all, there's something that's about to be exposed. And some people are going to want to be apologetic on account of that exposure. When whatever this thing is comes to light, it's going to be publicized in a way that, those that had a part in it here with this Five of Swords and this Nine of Cups are going to be, they're not going to look great, or it's going to be a great blemish to the offenders or, whomever is in the opposition of this queen one way or another. And that's what the apologies are for, the terms of endearment are for, maybe even before the exposure takes place to try to do some damage control. But I see it very much so still after, even how it's being trickled down now, that once this thing comes to light, people are going to want to offer their condolences or their apologies, or want to express their love in some way for forgiveness or for reconnection and in an emotional sense on account of whatever was exposed of their involvement. And then here we have, wow, it's funny that I was called to this now of all times, and this is the message, but this Five of Swords, which we have also seen before, some determination of destruction, demise. It's the intention, well, I'll say the motivation of this card is usually jealousy, envy, just wanting to cause some dissension. It's really a mindset toward wanting to cause some disruption or dissension against another person. Like I usually say, like almost leaving this person for dead or defeated, left behind, and really wanting to win at all costs to do it. So whatever it takes to win, doesn't matter what the casualties are, what the consequences are, that person is willing to do it. And then coupled with this Nine of Cups, that's definitely not giving me wish fulfillment. He was after wish fulfillment, but it was also infused with greed. So it wasn't purely just on the basis of just wanting to live a full, spiritually satisfying life, and and being satisfied with what you've created or what you've acquired. It was more so not being satisfied at all and wanting more and more and more to self-satisfy, in this position, and almost exalting self on this man-made throne of sorts. When I see it in the lower vibration, that's what it gives. In the higher vibration, it's something totally different. But in the lower vibration, it's just greed, and overindulgence even sometimes. So perhaps this exposure that's going to take place, public humiliation is what I also hear. So maybe perhaps that was the infraction against the queen, to try to humiliate her character in some type of way. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense with the Five of Swords, and that the truth of that, of those transgressions are coming to light. So maybe some things, because when we're talking about sword energy, we're talking about communication, also thoughts, and with the Five of Swords, it could be manipulation of the truth, it could be outright lying, especially on account of there being some jealousy or envy or some resistance of some sort, some diabolical intention or motivation here, to exalt self. So what do you do when you want to do that? In this vibration, you would suppress or depress someone else's character or someone else's progress or perception in the public with the World card. So this makes a lot of sense, unfortunately. But whatever it is, especially if you have experienced this, like someone just assassinating, literally with the Five of Swords, your character to in the public. And I would like to say unbeknownst to you, because remember I said the Queen of Cups, she's like kind of in her own world. She's so internally focused that she's not really as tapped in and tuned in to, like, it's like she is, but she isn't, you know. She's more so tuned into the things that pertain to her intel and her intelligence, and how, you know, that synergy is going to make some type of impact or impression. Someone that is a Queen of Cups, kind of like in a negative vibration, is overly stimulated by all types of emotional cues. She's, you know, she's triggered by what she sees on the news. She's triggered by what friends are doing. You know, she's overly invested in other people's business, and you know, and also very affected by other people's business and circumstances. She's a little bit topsy-turvy in relationships, platonically and intimately, not very stable and grounded. But the Queen of Cups in the upright, she's just, you know, she's just really focused on things of matters of the spirit, ultimately. The spirit of the matter and matters of the spirit. You know, what is the intangible essence of her experience, and what is the experience of intangible essence that she connects to. So sometimes things can kind of like just brush up on the shore and be pulled back into the current, because it's not even on her radar if it doesn't matter, you know, if it's not a spiritual matter. So sometimes things can probably, you know, like I said, just kind of get carried away with the current. But there's something about the spirit of the divine that is insistent about this exposure, the truth, perhaps even of her character, that needs to be vindicated for what has gone on. Look at this, under the surface, you know, like things that have been going on behind her back. That's why I had to shift him. I knew it. There are things that have been going on behind her back, beneath the surface, perhaps in the dark, behind the veil, that were more or less, you know, unbeknownst to her in many ways, or just that she wasn't directly affected by. Although it may be of little consequence to her, it's of much consequence to the spirit of all, you know, to, you know, the source, because as we're in this balancing phase, and also, not to be a broken record, but Venus in retrograde, and we're still a little bit teetering on the end of this full moon, super moon energy, and being also in Leo season, where exposures are happening every day, and everything that the sun is touching is being exposed. Literally, the sun, the source, is touching. And it's just the balance of this imbalance that obviously has occurred in this Five of Swords and this Nine of Cups, being rectified for the lowest vibration and also in the highest vibration, so that whatever infractions have occurred here are being judged and justified, and whatever infractions that have been imposed from this space and time are now being justified, and, you know, again, exposed for the truth of their nature. Because ultimately, if the Queen of Cups is over here minding her damn business, and people are trying to assassinate her character, and all she's doing is just focusing inward, it's not fair. It's not balanced. It's not real. It's not true, you know, and it's definitely not justified. So the universe is here to justify that energy and level the playing field for all. You know, for everything that she's been investing will be a return. For everything that this energy has invested, there will be a return. And it'll be somehow, some way, it either has been very public, even if it's not like media per se, meaning like on TV or on the internet or on YouTube or whatever, you know, whatever public sphere, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever is considered media anymore. Even if it's not like that, it'll just be a vindication in her very own life, you know, that of the infractions that she incurred, and the truth of her character will it'll be redeemed ultimately, you know. So that's that on that. So if you are one that, you know, has been, and even if it doesn't necessarily have to be a diabolical intention, you know, but people just misunderstanding, I'm always trying to find a higher vibration, you know, because it really ain't much high to go when you're talking about the Five of Swords. Honestly, it's not a good energy at all to be in or on the other end of. But sometimes people can make assumptions about who you are. Consider, as I was speaking about the character of the Queen of Cups, who's kind of like in her contained, you know, self-contained. That leaves a lot of room for assumption. You know, a lot of people will, you know, when you're not as vulnerable or exposed to the public, to even, you know, your surroundings, you know, as it is conventionally acceptable to do, people start to create their own storylines about who you are and what you do, what you stand for, you know, what the essence of your life truly is, you know, all types of stuff people can make assumptions about just based off of wanting to fill in the blanks or fill in the void for what they are not privy to. So there's that aspect of it, and that can happen on a very intimate level in exchange of interpersonal relationships, and also in a broader sense. You know, it could happen within family and friends, it could happen on the job, it could happen in your neighborhood where your neighbors, you know, you kind of keep to yourself, but your neighbors, they all are kind of cliquey or whatever, and they talk about they have their own camaraderie, and you kind of like are on the fray of that, so you could become a topic of conversation. You know, these are the ways that it could happen very primitively and practically, that don't necessarily have to be literally somebody out here creating total lies about you, which is the inference here, you know, that somebody's just out for blood on your character, trying to make you look like, you know, you're crazy or you're imbalanced, or talking about your love life, and especially with the Queen of Cups, you could really sully a woman talking about her love, you know, and her love power, her past or present, you know, just outright lies about what she does, who she's connected to. She's also a motherly figure with the Queen of Cups, that nurturing energy. And here's the child energy here, talking about how she raises her kids, talking about her ethics as a mom. You know, whatever, you could do a lot of damage to a feminine, especially one that is not even bothered to be connected to it all, just by throwing a couple little lies out here and watching them grow, you know. But certainly the same is true even in the most unintentional ways. The point of the matter is that the truth of the spirit of this Queen of Cups shall be exalted, and it'll be just as expressed and publicized, and, you know, presented, you know, uplifted in a sense, so that there'll be no room for falsehood, you know, that the truth will ultimately set everyone free. Those that were on the end of the gossip or the stories, those were that were the perpetuators of it, and the one that was actually the objective of it, you know, the I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the one that was that actually, she's not a victim, so I'm trying not to say that word, but, you know, the one that was on the other end of those stories, lies, inferences, or attacks, whatever they were, because this even infers attack of some type of thought or mental or psychological nature in a sense. So anyway, all of that's coming to light. So let's see what's on. Yep. And the stress is, yeah, and this is what speaks to those close relationships, those interpersonal relationships that I was talking about. It looks like a couple, but it could be in a neighborhood, it could be family, it could be friends, but people that are close to you that more or less, you know, have had enough of a connection to you to at least present themselves to know, you know, who you are and what you stand for, or to know the ways to kind of like really make an impact on your balance, your emotional balance is what I'm getting for the Six of Cups. And even when, like I said, when it didn't seem to make an impact directly, they could affect what? Everything around you, all these cups around you, telling people stuff about you that's just not true or exaggerated or inflated in some way, and she be none the wiser because she don't even care, really. She looking at her little cup, her holy grail, and trying to figure out what's next to do for her life by way of the spirit. She ain't really into the gossip. She ain't even really on the internet. She's not engaged in social media. She barely watches TV. She may not even know when this truth is exposed. That's how disconnected in some ways, in the most diabolical ways she actually is. But the spirit knows. Oh, the spirit knows. And this is the Nine of Swords here, because this is the ultimate, those that, and I like to say that everybody is accountable for their actions. So even those that didn't necessarily mean to cause an infraction, just be careful with your words and the things that you say about people, particularly because you never really know unless you know. And be careful what you allow to pierce your ears and your spirit space, because that this type of energy doesn't travel unless it has a host and it has some receptor, to connect with. Otherwise, the lies and the deceit would have stopped from the source to begin with. So sometimes, we have to stop energy right at the door, before it even pierces our heart. And even if there is some truth to it, is it really even worth connecting to? Is it worth feasting on and being a host of, honestly? Because you got to consider, would you want it to be you that was being talked about, or made fun of, or even if the things are true or not, would you want it to be you that's the main topic of somebody's discussion? You probably wouldn't. So, and as the golden rule says, treat others the way that you want to be treated, and be clear that there's a responsibility to everyone that takes part in this energetic exchange. So as I said, even if it wasn't necessarily for the sake of harm, it was just the sake of inclusion or being a part of some communication or whatever, there's still an accountability there for the return of that energy somehow, some way, based on how you participated or one participated. This is the Nine of Swords here, primarily for the for the ones that were most offensive and intentional of being obstructive and destructive, honestly. But I feel also the anxiety could come into play for those that, with this Page of Cups, that really have an affinity to be connected to the Queen of Cups and have, some connection of love and, some vibration of love, whether it be past or present, with that Six of Cups card, that existed, and was pure, even if it's broken now, and so that's the remorse and regret now, because what once was has now kind of been dismantled, more or less, because just on the count of association, I'm hearing, just like I said, on the count of just being a part of the gossip, of the story, of the plot, of the plan, of whatever it was on any level. This is the energy here, that just the fear of being disconnected from something that was once of value, and let alone the fear of actually being on the receiving end of the energy of destruction and deceit that was dispelled. That is a very torturous place to be in, when you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop and you don't know when it's going to do so. That I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yep. And look at this shit. Look at this. Lies, tricks. And it's weird because, like, a lot of times the Five of Swords will come up and I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, like, well, maybe it's just the mindset. It's not, there were no actions. But this is absolutely the confirmation that there was diabolical action taken towards some destructive nature, lies, deceit, trickery. Literally, this is the energy of wanting to steal, kill, and destroy, to steal someone's prosperity or good nature, to kill their character, whether it be publicly or privately, and to destroy any potential relationships or connections. Because if you're going around destroying someone's character, who's going to want to be associated or connected with that, you know? So it quickly escalated from, and that's what envy and jealousy does. It's a spirit, and it starts in a subtle way, like a child's state, something small and minor, and before you know it, here you are at the Nine of Cups, you know, overindulgent in all the ways and reasons why you feel a certain type of way toward a person, or you feel like you should have what they have, or you could do better with what they have, or just a why me type of situation, or I deserve this. And you do. You deserve anything that you put your mind to for you. But again, Five of Swords, winning at all costs. Seven of Swords, not at the cost and casualty of someone else, especially that has absolutely nothing to do with you. You know, that has no responsibility for your success or your elevation whatsoever. You are the controller of that creativity, and you get to take responsibility for every which way you expressed that power. You know, we all do. And so this is the energetic return for these investments. Well, this is the energetic return for these investments, and it's ultimately not elevating from the Five of Swords to the Seven of Swords, because for every sword that was sown, you know, in lies and deceit and destruction, you know, the Nine of Swords is almost 10, where the guy is like laying flat on his face with 10 swords in his back. That same deception is what will be incurred for those that are diligent about sowing deception, you know. And that's the anxiety, because more or less what the exposure don't do, the spirit will. You know, literally the spirit of a man, for all that was you know, sown, it has to come back somewhere. Those seeds have to grow somewhere, you know. And so here that Seven of Swords comes, and usually with the Seven of Swords, you end up running into whatever you left behind. You know, you think you're getting away with it, but it usually meets you wherever you are. As the saying goes, wherever you go, there you are. So if you left some energy behind you, you can definitely expect it to catch up with you from wherever you go. So you couldn't hide from the exposure and the truth if you wanted to, especially not nowadays. My God, back in the day, you could hide a little bit, but where you going to go on the internet that is safe and sound, you know, when now you're the talk of the town? You know, where are you going to go amongst friends that you clearly, you know, value, you know, a certain level of friendship that you clearly value, when now you're the one that everybody's whispering and gossiping about, you know, being the bone carrier, literally, and now it's your bones that are rattling right on out your closet. That is sad and anxiety driven. So anyway, don't know why the spirit wanted to say that so clearly at this time, but these are the message. This is the message. And as I said, I'll be back a little later to do something else, or hopefully give something in a little bit different of a spirit, but who knows? I'm open to however it channels through. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.